She lay motionless on the cold, floor, barely breathing, ignored for over an hour. Nurses whispered, doctors hesitated. Then, without warning, the glass doors slammed open. A man in a tailored coat stepped in, flanked by security and silence. The shift in the room was instant panic, recognition, regret. Phones lit up. Administrators were summoned. This wasn't just another patient, and this wasn't going away quietly. What happens when power walks in too late? This is the story of a woman unseen until the world was forced to watch. Comment your city if you're watching. Marissa Cole wasn't just anyone. She was a Black woman, an Ivy League graduate, and the founder of a youth mentorship nonprofit in Atlanta. Her days were spent uplifting others, coaching teenage girls, managing fundraisers, and balancing life with her husband, David, a quiet tech entrepreneur with a mysterious low profile. That night, though, none of that mattered. After a late board meeting, Marissa felt a sudden wave of nausea and chest tightness. She dismissed it at first stress, maybe, but the pain kept rising. At the ER, she checked in alone while David was away on business. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. She waited and waited. Nurses walked past. Her name wasn't called. Others were helped before her, people who came later. She felt invisible. Unease crept in like a shadow, stretching under a door. Something was wrong, and not just in her body. This hospital visit wouldn't just test her health. It would test everything. Marissa's breathing grew shallow. Sweat beaded along her hairline. She clutched her chest as sharp pain radiated down her left arm. Yet, as she sat hunched over in the ER waiting room, no one came. An elderly white man, coughing violently, was seen within minutes. A teen with a sprained ankle was escorted in with laughter and small talk. Marissa, still waiting. She approached the front desk, her voice trembling, explaining her worsening pain. The nurse didn't look up. "Have a seat, ma'am. We'll call you," she muttered. No sense of urgency, no triage, just cold indifference. Minutes blurred into an hour. Marissa curled into herself on the plastic chair, eyes glazed over. She could feel something wasn't right. A Black janitor pushing a mop paused. Their eyes met. He nodded just slightly as if he knew. Another patient, who had just arrived, was called next. That was the moment Marissa's body slid to the floor still. The staff moved slowly. A nurse muttered something about panic attacks and detention seekers. No one checked vitals, no crash cart, just whispers and sidelong glances. When they finally wheeled her back, it wasn't because of concern, it was because someone had finally noticed her collapsed on the tile. Meanwhile, 1,300 miles away, her husband's phone lit up. The hospital's negligence was about to awaken a storm they didn't see coming. What they didn't know was this quiet husband had power and a name that could break institutions. Marissa's heart was barely beating when the cardiologist finally arrived, 40 minutes too late. She was in full cardiac arrest. A code was called, but the ER team fumbled, confused, scrambling, disorganized. One nurse whispered, "She should have been triaged an hour ago." But it was too late for regret. Then the double doors burst open. David Cole stormed in, composed, and flanked by private security. Within minutes, hospital directors were called from their homes. Phones rang nonstop. Reporters, lawyers, and legal reps appeared out of nowhere. Doctors froze as they realized who Marissa's husband was, founder of a billion-dollar health tech firm and silent funder of several medical boards. David stood by Marissa's side, eyes locked on the staff. "Every second you ignored her will be accounted for." The hospital had just made a fatal error, one the whole world was about to see. Marissa survived, but barely. Months of cardiac rehab followed, and a lawsuit was filed that would shake the hospital to its core. Staff were suspended, protocols rewritten. But the scars weren't just physical. Marissa had always believed in change through compassion and policy, but now she understood the brutal urgency of accountability. Her story went viral, not because she was married to a billionaire, but because countless Black women weren't. Women whose pain is ignored, whose voices go unheard, whose lives are treated as less urgent. Marissa used her platform to launch a foundation advocating for racial equity in healthcare, because it shouldn't take wealth, status, or media coverage for a Black woman to be believed. How many lives have been lost in silence, and how many more before we call it what it is systemic? Share this. If you believe change starts with truth,